Welcome, everybody. This is John Paul Mendocha, Dr. Speed Selling, and this is Raging Verbalist number what? Oh, 254. And this has been a crazy week, so I'm glad that you're here. Raging Verbalist is a weekly event, and we happen on YouTube and Facebook, which is the Position to Win book group. And with me, as always, to ply me with the questions, to ask me what you would be asking me if you were sitting there, is, of course, the ever lovely Sandra. Welcome, Sandra.
Hello, how are you doing?
Doing well. It's been quite an interesting week, hasn't it?
That's right.
So what are we talking about today? What's
Yes.
topic?
All right. So this is how to orient your finances given the election results. So starting off, did you watch the election results unfold on the 5th of November?
Well, I certainly did, but I got to put in a disclaimer because, of course, this is the crazy, wacky world that we live in. This should not be construed as legal or accounting advice or financial advice, just opinion. So you take it for what it's worth and what you're paying for it. But you might learn a couple things here. So yes, I watched the election, and it was a rather tense day. I think I kind of tipped my hand in the direction that I was leaning, and all of that, given the fact that I'm a libertarian and a capitalist, and all of that. So I watched the election step by step, and I thought, well, was it going to be like before? 2016, by the way, I had bet a bunch of people that Donald Trump would win, and that was a nail biter. In fact, I actually crashed out and said, I'm done with it. And then my wife, said, hey, it looks like they're going to call Pennsylvania for him. This time it wasn't quite as nail biting. And in fact, the results were coming in faster and better. And I felt pretty good about it. So yes, I did that. And I ended up staying up far later than I normally stay up, and actually watched the acceptance or the congratulatory, hey, I won speech. So, and how about yourself, Sandra? What were you doing on election day?
I was working a polling station, so it was a very long day for me. So any election, even local, have patience for your poll workers because this was my first time working one. And we had a line out the door of people standing there like an hour before we even opened, standing in the rain, like knocking on the door, trying to get in and vote. And it's like, we're not even set up yet. Please go away. Or at least for like a little bit and come back. So it was good though. It was fun. So
Great turnout.
it was, I think for our check-in names and all of the ballots and lists that we have, as well as provisional ballots and early voting lists, I think we got in my area like 85% voter turnout. So a lot.
A lot.
A
Yeah.
lot. At least for my area. So that's pretty good.
Well, that is good. That is good. Well, and I think people were taking this one a little bit more to heart. So yes.
That's right. So did you check the markets and how they were reacting as they unfolded?
So I'm watching the election, and like I think every person today, you got your phone and you got your tablet and you got your TV, and you're watching all this stuff going on. And so I was checking because I was interested to see what was happening in the futures market, because if you are not aware of it, when Wall Street closes down officially every day, that isn't really the end of it, because things are traded 24 hours a day, 7 days a week globally. Now, less trading is going on, but still stuff is going on. And so I went into Google and I said, S&P futures live action or live activity. And it was interesting because usually it just pops up with a little diagram, little blurb showing me what's going on and who's active, and I'm talking about markets. And the first thing that it popped up was an article, and the headline was markets, S&P futures are down 600 points. And it was, our futures are down 600 points on fear of Donald Trump's election. Now, I thought, wow, that's pretty wild. I mean, I can't imagine that that's going on, but somebody is betting heavily. and I always like to know who's betting, because to me that's a real demarcation. Because a lot of times, everybody can have an opinion. From my Vegas days, anybody can have an opinion, but are you willing to back it up with money, and if you will have skin in the game? So I kind of, late at night, went to bed, turned out the way I wanted it to. And I thought, well, market's going to kind of suck. Got up, market's open here at 6:30 a.m. On the West Coast. It's 3 hours behind New York. And to my surprise, the markets were off to the races. They were up big time, and I had a big smile on my face. So, and hopefully, your investments also did well, right, Sandra?
They did. It's been fantastic this week. So, and in fact, I have a financial planner meeting today, so we are going to talk about it. So, let the good
There
times
you go.
roll.
There you go.
So, is this a continuation of the bull market or boom it, or what's your sense of what it is?
Well, I think first off, the market has been doing very well, and interest rates have started to trend down, and inflation has cooled somewhat, though it's at a higher level. That's the insidious nature of inflation, is that once you go up and you kind of get locked into a level, if you will, a set point, it's tough for it to come back down. But I think that this is a reaction to, and we'll see how long it lasts. Now, the bull market was already there, and we are going to continue to see this happen. It's going to be a while before Donald Trump gets officially sworn in, which will be in January. But I think that the markets feel like there's going to be this improvement in the business environment, and I think that really means a lot to people who are going to make investments, and what you're going to do with your time, and what you're going to, how things are going to take place. So I think that's quite a big difference. So I think we may have some room to run, and yeah, we'll see how far it goes.
And are there any particular interesting developments?
Well, the shock of shocks, and I have to just say that I play Tesla, the stock, through an ETF, so I don't own it directly anymore. But play it through an ETF, and Tesla has been on a tear. And I have to say that has been a big surprise as far as I was concerned, because Donald Trump has said categorically that he is going to remove the incentives to buying electric cars. And but I saw an analyst yesterday talking about how since Tesla is a first mover, they actually are ahead of the game, so they don't need as many incentives to do well, because people then, don't buy them just because of the incentive. They buy them because they like the cars. So I thought that was really interesting. Little side point is that depends on how you map it out. Elon made a huge bet by backing and getting involved in politics. And well, looks like his bet paid off, because he has gone up in net worth by 20 to 30 plus billion dollars with a B, which is like a big ass number. So now I'm not saying that you're going to be there or get there, but I can tell you some things that could potentially help you, which is you might go out and check out my book, which is Most Businesses Fail in the First 5 Minutes. It just takes them 3 to 5 years to realize it. Position to Win. It's available physically from Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Books a Million, and also at our website, which is positiontowinbook.com, positiontowinbook.com. Go check it out, pick it up, and what we'll do is, of course, I will autograph it for you if you buy directly from us. Also, you can. So that is. Hang on, that book. I always get this backwards. Anyway, so that's that book. Also, like I said, available digitally from Kindle, Nook, Barnes & Noble Nook, and Apple iBooks. And then you can also get our exclusive book, Remote Work for a Better World, which is really a tactical guide to how to do remote work better. Also, if you go to the website, you can check out and pick up our Raging Verbalist mug. Everything is a little bit better with a little rage in it. And maybe this is a time for you to be doing raging. And then, of course, I'm introducing for 2025, which is Thrive in 25. It's my coaching and mentorship program. And check that out, because I'm going to revamp what I've been doing. It was working. What I'm going to do is add in a few things, and especially with these latest and updated events. So lots of stuff to go look at, and potentially make you that success that you want to be. All right, so what's next, Sandra?
All right, so what are the prospects for 2025?
Well, I think we're all going to make, especially at least for the next 3 to 4 years, if we're going to have a lower regulatory environment, a more business-friendly environment, we're going to see mergers and acquisitions kick up. It's probably going to be a good time to make a lot of money. So if you've been waiting to make a lot of money, this is the time to do it. The insidious thing about a high regulatory environment is that you spend a lot of time as a because all we have there are three things. We have three things. We have time, money, and resources, and you end up regulations zap all of those. Not saying we don't need regulations, but we got regulations on top of regulations and all of that. So I think we're going to see a pretty positive business environment, which means that anybody out there who wants to be successful, if you've been waiting for a reason or waiting for the timing to be right, this is going to be some amazing timing in my belief. We're going to see a lot of explosive entrepreneurial activity, and that's a good thing. We need more innovation. We need more entrepreneurial power and spirit and growth.
And can you give us a contrast of where you think mergers and acquisitions is going to go?
Well, under the current administration, they essentially have taken a stance that Nancy Reagan had about drugs, which is just say no. And they've just said no. And, example after example after example, the Biden administration has stopped large mergers and acquisitions. People are afraid to go out and do this because it costs a lot of money to do a transaction. Having bought and sold businesses, I can tell you there's no free lunch. And the amazing part about it is that I think they have stopped so many different acquisitions. It's not even funny. For all of you who are concerned that this is the consolidation of the consolidation of the consolidation, that has been going on since time began. It needs to happen. The world needs to become more efficient and more effective and more capable. And that means, but there are always going to be opportunities because things aren't going to always, tidy up all nice and neat. So there is no monolith that's going to take over all of it, but things will continue to change. So I think that in a better climate for mergers and acquisitions, I'm kind of excited. Almost all of my turnaround work in one way or another was always tied to fixing a company so you could sell it. And it's been tough to do this in this environment. Money was hard to get, interest rates were up, but also the regulatory hurdles were always there.
And are you optimistic about Trump's tax proposals?
Well, he's doing a lot of things, or he's at least proposed a lot of things, which will be interesting. First off, if the tax cuts that were put in place during his first administration were let to expire, everybody, and I mean everybody out there, if you don't believe me, go out and do some real research, are going to be paying higher taxes. Raising corporate taxes, which is what Harris had proposed, would have put us in a very uncompetitive place. Also, every single company out there spends a lot of time trying to figure out how to maximize their profitability and minimize their tax burden. So if we have a more favorable tax environment, and also some of the things that are aimed specifically at working areas like no taxes on tips or no taxes on Social Security, all of those will be, I think, net positives because I think it will create a optimism that really will push some things in a bigger and better direction. And we'll see how much of that can go through. My fingers are crossed, and we'll keep you posted, if you will.
And what does this mean for sales, marketing, and entrepreneurial people?
I've seen markets come and go. I've seen pessimism come and go. I lived through some very tough economic times in my career. And I can tell you that when there's this kind of sea change, it is a breath of fresh air. And when that optimism or that feeling of confidence, that feeling that things are going to actually get better, that deals are going to happen, that commerce is going to take place, all of that means that if you're in sales, you're in marketing, you're an entrepreneur, that deals are going to happen and it's going to be much easier. The last 4 years, it has been scraping and chipping and very tough. And that is across the board for myself and my clients. And it's not like we didn't make it through the other side. We have, but it'd be nice to be in an environment where, well, things are going to be just taking place and happening and have an optimistic environment and therefore an updraft instead of a suppression of business. If that happens, I think we're going to see a lot of people become successful and make a lot of money, and hopefully we'll pay more tax, even though the tax rates will be lower. So with that, I want to thank everybody who's joined us. We'll see if these views, I don't really call them predictions, thoughts become true or not, but I believe that we're in a more optimistic time. And this is a race that you need to be ready to run. You need to get your running shoes on, you need to get limbered up, you need to get all stretched out, so you're not going to pull a hammy or something. And you want to do all of that right now because we have a window between now and January 20th for you to get ready to experience a very different change and a different sense of how the market's going to take place. And if you do that, you're going to become significantly successful in 25 and beyond. So for myself, John Paul Mendoza, Dr. Speed Selling, and the ever lovely Sandra, this has been the Raging Verbalist. And hopefully we'll see you on the next one.